Hola mis amigos, bienvenidos a Who Hit You Podcast. Soy Roy.
Soy Vidush. ¿Qué pasa?
¿Qué onda?
Come on.
Alright, well, I don't know that's proper Spanish.
UFC last night was the dopest though, if we're going, right? It wasn't the best, but it was highly anticipated card. All upsets was what was crazy on the big events.
There was some upsets. It was pretty funny. The only person that I was rooting for and really cared about winning was Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
And
And I was worried about him too. But he pulled it off. But the first fight, Chandler versus Hooker, which now people are calling...
First time I seen both of them fight.
Okay.
Those are new...
Well,
excuse me.
Showing for Hooker.
Yeah, you've talked about Hooker a bunch. You
saw that little highlight that they're showing the build-up, and you're like, oh, he got hands, but...
You've talked about him. You like him. I was really looking forward to see him. We like the same fighters.
Right.
We like the same styles.
Instead, we saw him get super slept. Tyson style. Low bob, up hit. But they're calling Chandler that the best UFC debut when you're coming from a different organization to the UFC.
But he's coming from Bellator, right?
Yeah. That is definitely not the best debut. Have people forgotten Anderson Silva coming from
destroying Lieben?
Eating Lieben, never been knocked out, the hardest skull on the planet.
100% he's just hard reset on Lieben.
He hit him 3 times while Lieben was in free fall.
He did. That's right. He was doing like a stanky leg, and then he got
So let's be careful on, and that was Lieben. Hooker just lost to Poirier. With the last time we saw Hooker fight, he lost. So not the best, but okay. Good debut, good win. He validates his record.
First time I'm seeing Chandler also. I no idea who that kid was.
He moved like a little pit bull. He was short compared to him, but he looked like ready to wrestle.
He's definitely got that Napoleon complex?
Napoleon Little Man syndrome?
Yeah.
The Vidush complex?
I mean, that dude's jacked, this little pit bull, stocky, obviously got some power. Was he a wrestler?
Yeah, he was the All-American wrestler. Because it looked like he was ready to wrestle, his movement was ready to go for that, but knocked him out.
And I think with him, so he knocks out Hooker, and after that he talks about the sequence, and it's basically made it seem like that's exactly what we practice, and that's the move, and that's the sequence. It didn't seem, from my point of view, it was obviously knock this guy out. This guy's an amazing athlete and a professional fighter. To me, it just seemed like in your head, the move was 1-2. But that's how you rip 1-2.
Yeah,
because it just seemed like I could just tell right away. It's you're very athletic.
Right, he's ready to go. He's like
Yeah, he can
he was just changing levels.
Just a snake
sprinting.
that can attack from any angle. Just bite you from any angle.
It's true because he did the drop down Joe Frazier.
Yeah,
he did the boom coming up hook, but while shifting in fast because Hooker was circling
and
fast.
it was just a crazy.
Whoa! And he just hooked hard.
Man. And then, so he knocks him down.
He does the replay.
He knocks him down, and his dive in is just this. I thought that was a nastier punch. Because he just comes in.
The second punch that came across.
Wow,
boom. The right.
So hard.
The right came right across. That's true.
So hard.
Slapped him all the way.
Yeah. Jumps on the cage, does a backflip.
Yeah, Dana was talking about it in the press conference. He was like, do you guys hate the fucking backflip as much as I do?
Right.
Dana was like, God, the guy goes out, has amazing performance. I'm loving it. And then he does a flip, and I think he's going to blow out both of his knees. I thought
the same thing. He broke his ankles or something.
Right, because he didn't even have a clean landing. But once again...
We've seen people celebrate, hurt themselves, and so they're career's done.
Oh, yeah. Johnny Walker is looking kind of bad now. And he was on a knockout train. And he just tried to do the worm and lost his arm. But next fight, Dustin Conor. You were going for Dustin.
Yes, I was going for Dustin, and I talked about it in the last podcast. If you haven't seen the last podcast, check out the last episode. We talked about the fights before we last weekend.
Yeah, we picked them before.
I just wanted I just wanted somebody. This actually leads to a different topic or a different question. I wanted someone that just wants the belt and is going to defend the belt, and it's like I want a champion for the division. I just don't. I don't want Conor McGregor just to get another notch on his belt and then just like fuck off.
Right. Okay.
Fair. So I was rooting for Dustin Poirier, but Conor actually surprised me.
Because he's so humble.
This wasn't shit talking and super annoying and outrageous. Conor, he brought his family with him, his son and his wife. I mean, great marketing with him and his kids. His kid's adorable, so like that's like a good look for him.
His kid's got hands.
Does he really?
His kid's got hands. It's crazy. Man, no, he's just so smooth. But yeah, continue. I saw a video. He was just lighting up a little bag.
Nice. He was. Let me rephrase that. He was very respectful to the fight and to Poirier. He was, very confident, talking his game, just like I'm this, I beat you, I like whatever. But I don't feel like he was ever talking shit.
Right, he wasn't.
Poirier.
He never was.
I mean, they exchanged like was it the proper 12 and the.
Well, he didn't give him the proper 12, but he was like, I'm gonna send you some because Dustin brought him the hot sauce.
Yeah, the hot sauce. Yeah. And they're laughing at the weigh-ins and like shake hands and stuff, and it's like I haven't seen this McGregor. I've often seen McGregor, or we've all seen him lose, and he loses well.
Yeah,
like he's always been like that guy beat me. I've never seen a McGregor go up there and make like a crazy excuse. He's always just been like straight up with that. I've always respected that.
He did that again.
Yeah, and so then after the fight, just pure class.
But I know you kind of wanted Dustin to shut him up from his old stuff, right?
Well,
but then he wasn't acting like it. But
let me rephrase that. The only time I've seen Conor McGregor go wild is the Khabib fight, but that was just a wild fucking ending.
Yeah, true. The ending, but that was Khabib lost his mind first. Yeah, Khabib lost his mind.
Like that, he didn't act a fool. Shit just popped off, and McGregor's just down to do whatever.
Well, I mean, they jumped in the cage and tried to light him up first.
Well, they hit him.
He wasn't down to fight.
He was actually just standing there.
He just got whooped by Khabib. Yeah. He was done.
So this new Conor, or this I should say this new Conor, this
other version. This new Conor, because he did this for Cowboy.
Then this I like.
But that for Cowboy, I didn't believe because I thought it was like he had to build his PR back because he just had all these cases in a row. He had everything bad happening in a row. So I was like, oh, he's just trying to play cool. But he did it again. So yeah, you're like that because that was so funny because when we were watching the fights, you were like, watch like now he becomes humble and he's just a fighter I like. If you watched his post fight, you totally. I was like, dude,
I did see some of his and like he's just saying like I thought I was just checking the knee. I like we had a good plan. I had to get this. I felt good. But then my knee went to trash, and then I miscalculated this, and like just straight up like this was wrong.
If you watch the whole thing, it's like 15 minutes or something. Connor's post or 20. It's 20 minutes his post fight, but it's so crazy because Dustin's post fight. While he's walking out the ring, they ask him, and he was like, "Yeah." They were like, "When did you know like you were damaging him?" And he goes, "Oh, like right on the first one I knew because he wasn't using the right technique to check. He was checking it, but he wasn't turning out enough." And Conor was like, "I've never experienced the low kick before." And he was like, "I can already tell that I need to turn my foot out completely."
And I remember
they both were on the same exact page. And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Like he just beat Conor with this move.
See, and I thought that he was like checking it.
He was checking.
He was checking it, but he was getting like he was taking damage. He wasn't doing it to where he wasn't taking damage.
Yeah.
Conor isn't well. So let's back up a little bit. He's tearing him up with his leg kick, but
okay. So the thing was, it was only on the very first one I said that landed. Dustin and Conor both said that was the hardest one that landed all those times. All the other ones, but he said from the very first one he was different, and I think that was actually maybe why Dustin made it through some. Because Dustin took hard shots, it looked like, but he couldn't plant as well, I guess.
And that's what I was gonna say is that. To me, Dustin looked a little stiff. He looked a little nervous, or maybe Conor looked more calm and like relaxed. Dustin looked a little like.
Yeah, he looked. He had some nerves.
Yeah,
he had some nerves,
and he was taking some big shots there.
He was taking shots.
Conor's landing his left, and he can land his left in the first round. He can land his left in the fifth.
Yeah, and you'll go to sleep at some point, right?
He took some big shots. McGregor's taking his leg shots. The announcers are making like commentary about that. But,
Right.
And then second round, I feel like McGregor is moving well again. He's hitting shots. He's catching his foot and like and
right. He's catching his foot now.
He did it like two times in a row, 3 times in a row. Same thing. Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. He was looking good, and it looked like Dustin was
getting outclassed.
Yeah, it looked like this is what McGregor's going to win this.
Because one time Dustin even came in to punch him up, and he was sloppy.
Yeah, like he there was a couple times where he's throwing just throwing, like not looking where he's going. It's just kind of like
But with hindsight, then we know that actually maybe he could have finished him actually earlier because he couldn't really plant on the leg as well. And he said that every kick counted. He said he could feel the accumulation. And Conor even said that he said that one time Dustin's coach said, "Oh, that was a good one," and he was like, in my head, he was like, "Bastard, that was a good one." Like, and he said that it was starting to affect. It was starting to affect his whole game. Like he was like, I couldn't circle as fast. Then he was saying I had been out the ring too long because I can tell because like you said, he was like, I was catching all those kicks. And I always follow up with a straight right. I always follow up with a straight right behind him, and I didn't jump on any of those. And he was like, I was slow. So he, like you said, never makes excuses, but the stuff he said made sense.
Yeah, I think it was really just an assessment. It's just an honest assessment of his performance. Assessed it,
And but he was super impressed by that kick.
Because he is a great fighter.
Yeah.
He is a good fighter.
Really
good. When he is in it, I like him as a fighter. He's beat some of the best in the world. His highlight reel is amazing.
It's crazy.
And he's reached the pinnacle of the sport. And
be a fighter though. He hasn't been a fighter in so long.
Yeah.
He was only a fighter when he was chasing the belt and the fame.
So that's the question. So the question I was going to ask is like, do you think this stays? And do you think this is a new thing? And then we can let. I also I hope it does. I mean, he's making crazy money now. He's had a crazy last couple of years in life.
He has a kid. He has another on the way.
I think that at this point, he doesn't have to be the other McGregor anymore, and he's got the money. He doesn't need the money right now. He's making plenty of money. So then I think maybe for him, it's like I need something to.
Right. I think it'll make him a better fighter because. I think he had to expend energy, selling the fight the way he did. And I think now, if it ever comes out, it'll be real. So, like, it won't take energy. Like, when he fights Nate again, he's going to be talking mad shit. If he ever gets to fight Khabib, that's real. He hates him. So, like, then it'll come out. But otherwise, I don't see it coming out much unless he fights Tony because Tony just tries to talk very weird shit to people. But I think, that Conor McGregor would stay. Now, the next thing is what's coming next though? Like,
I mean, even McGregor said he's like, I don't know. Right. Like, I gotta go back and just kind of.
Right, but he said he's going to come back to fight. But I'm saying, so who fights? You think they're going to give Dustin and Chandler the title fight?
I mean, I think that you're fighting in a pandemic. You're in a bubble. You have only X many pieces to play with in general.
Well, Dustin for sure has to get the title. Yeah, Dustin for sure has to get it.
And I think with them playing with this limited roster, or just like the system that they have going on now, it's been some amazing fights and some really good shows. And I think that there's not necessarily the need to like play this out.
Yeah,
and it's just like
they do have time.
It has. I mean, they have some time, but like
because they just fought. That's what Dana said. He wouldn't commit. He was like, "Well, they just fought, so I don't have to worry about it."
Yeah, but like their next fight could. I definitely can see Justin's next fight. I agree with what he said in the ring that.
This should have been for the title. Khabib was retired.
The way I see it, this was a title fight, and I won, and I'm the champion.
Yeah, that was tight, and I agree with him.
I agree.
I don't think it should be. It sounded like I heard Chael pushing it. I heard some of the commentators pushing Dustin and Chandler. And yes, Chandler had a win streak coming in, and he beat Hooker now, but Hooker was still number 5, coming off a loss. And Oliveira just beat Tony Ferguson, like destroyed him. You remember he broke his arm with an arm bar, but it was at the end of the round, so then he just came out and smoked him the second round. finish it up. I think it should be Dustin Oliveira.
That'd be cool.
That'd be the fight to make, and then you could do like, you do Chandler either with Gaethje, or with Conor.
Yeah, that'd be a cool fight.
And, right, and then you give the people with losses the fights, like, because Ferguson just lost. I mean, you could even fight Conor, but it sounds like they want Chandler and Dustin. The media does, but I think it should be Oliveira. But there's about to have it's like the lightweight Grand Prix for the title happening right now.
I mean, I'm curious to see what happens, and I'm sure either way it'll be some great fights.
Yeah, if it's Dustin and Chandler, I got Dustin.
Until Dustin loses,
yeah,
and gets beat,
yeah,
he's the man. Like you said, he's the champion.
Only one before that, it was just Conor way back in the day, and Khabib mauled him.
Yeah, I mean, in my eyes, I agree with him. He's the champ.
He's the champ. Tell us what you think.